Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Pajikacharya, Ashtottara to the Shri Mata's Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Pajikacharya, Ashtottara to the Shri Mata's Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Krishna Fast Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna, everybody, both here and through the internet. This is May 10th, and it is also Mother's Day. And so that'll be part of our theme tonight. Theme is Mother Nature, friend or foe. And we'll start off with a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita as it is, by translation commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is from the 14th chapter, the three modes of material nature, text number 4. Some of you may know this verse. Savayoni Shukanteya Murtayak Sambhavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahadjonir Aham Bija Pradakpita. Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. It's a short purport here. Srila Prabhupada writes, in this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet, but on every planet, even on the highest, where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth there are living entities, even within water and within fire. All these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed-giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out in various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So, we are products of the combination of the spiritual and the material energy. The material energy consists of our gross and subtle body. It's explained in the 7th chapter very nicely. Bhumirapo olanobayo kangmano buddhadevacha ankaditiyame binnapakladashtada. Krishna says these 8 separated energies of mind, consisting of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, are my apara prakriti. He explains in the next verse. Apara means lower energy, not living. But there is a higher energy, para prakriti, which consists of all these living entities who are sustaining this world, exploiting this world, and they're impregnated and they're involved in so many different species of life and organisms. So this material energy is said to be here, and in text 4, which we read, the material energy, known as Durga otherwise. Now this Durga, as explained in the Brahma Samhita, she's a servant of Krishna, naturally. And as her name implies, she has the thankless task of reforming the conditioned souls, those who have wandered away from this spiritual world, who have rebelled against Krishna's supremacy, and want to try to imitate Krishna or be Krishna rather than serve Krishna. So that's all of these living in the conditioned souls, countless souls. Even though they're countless, it said that they're only 1/4 of the total souls. That most of the souls, living entities, stay in the spiritual world and work and act out of pure love for Krishna, which is our eternal nature. So the theme tonight is Mother Nature, friend or foe. Well, the fact is that she's our friend. She's our friend because she is tasked with giving us a facility for acting in the material world, trying to fulfill our material desires. But because that's not our natural state, she also punishes us. And she punishes us with these threefold miseries. And it's all very nicely calibrated according to the severity of our rebellion, meaning the intensity of our sin, and how we act in this material world. It's very complicated, karma and reaction. But we'll never learn anything unless there is also a source of knowledge that we can take to that can give us enlightenment, how we can get out of this imprisonment. And so that's where Krishna comes in. As he says in the 4th chapter, he comes to this world whenever Dharma is becoming eclipsed by adharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyutanama dharmasya tadatmanam sajamiham. At that time I manifest myself. And in the next verse he says he protects the devotees, annihilates the miscreants, and reestablishes real dharma. Now that periodically happens. Krishna directly comes, but most often he's here by one of his representatives, and also by his words, by the books, by the Shastra, which he manifests in the world through such great sages as Vyasadeva. So the Mother Nature, she acts as both a facilitator of giving us our environment by which we can enact our material desires. She also punishes us. And when we wake up a little bit and become sane, she also facilitates our devotional service to Krishna. The same material energy. After all, what is this building? This building is a combination of earth and some electricity moving here and there, water going through the pipes. It's the same material energy. But because it's being used for the service of Krishna, it acts transcendentally. It helps us to reform our consciousness and purify our consciousness so that ultimately we can get out of this material world altogether, Durga, which means a fort or a prison house, and return back home, back to Godhead, and take up our service again, hopefully, as Krishna says, never to come back, because once burned, twice shy. So when we confront our present situation, in which there is suddenly an upsurge of I would say one of the threefold miseries. Would you say it's a adidaivic misery? It's kind of came out of nowhere. But whether it's adidaivic, adibhautic, or the atmic, it is a result of the, especially when it's something like as devastating as we see now with this COVID-19 pandemic. It's a reminder for all of us, devotees and non-devotees, but mostly devotees. We can see, yes, this is sinful reaction coming. There's a quote I picked out. Prabhupada, in the first canto, there are quite a few, because we have that whole episode where Maharaj Parikshit goes out and he finds the cow and the bull being injured by Kali personified. And the cow represents Mother Earth, and the bull represents Dharma. Dharma is standing on 3 legs, on 1 leg, 3 of the legs having been injured. Austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Truthfulness is the only one that's a little bit left in the Kali Yuga, and the others are all gone. And Mother Earth is also being tormented. So Parikshit is ready to slay this Kali, but he very wisely surrenders. He surrenders to him. And finally, as we've heard, he's barred from the kingdom as long as Maharaj Parikshit was ruling. He was holding back the advent of the age of Kali by his strong rule. And Prabhupada explains there in many verses, and the Bhagavatam explains it. This is the duty of the Kshatriyas, of real Kshatriya. What does Kshatriya mean? Protect from harm. But their duty is to protect not just the people, but all of the praja, all of the citizens, including the animals, and to see that Varnashram is going nicely and everyone's performing his duty and advancing back to Godhead. That's the duty of a real Kshatriya. Daiva Varnashram, as Krishna explains in that Sutta Goswami explains, 2nd chapter of the 1st canto. Atak Pumba Dvija Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Swanustitasya Dharmasya Sangsiddhi Hoditoshanam. The perfection of Varnashram, Siddhi, is to work for the pleasure of Krishna. And when that isn't happening, then society becomes very chaotic, and the people suffer like anything, and they're misguided, and all hellish things go on, as we see today. So what we're experiencing now is a sudden and unexpected worldwide reaction to accumulated sinful activities of people. And the Kshatriyas have become out and out demons. I mean, you can just simply analyze from the 16th chapter, and you can see that they don't have the interests of the people at heart. They're trying to exploit their positions, and they're as far away from the ideal of Maharaj Parikshit, King Prithu, who we read about, Rishabdev, other great kings who we read about in the Shastra. So the Mother Nature is neither friend nor foe. She's simply doing her duty, and when we turn to her master, Krishna, and we try to revive our Krishna consciousness, then she acts as our friend, providing facility for service. When we rebel against Krishna, then she acts as a stern prison warden, I guess you would call it, and she punishes us, and is teaching. This phrase "tough love" is good, you know. The tough love is the love is there, but what is needed for the reformation and upliftment of the person who you love is some severe punishment, so that they'll learn that this isn't the place of our enjoyment. The modern day governments are getting further and further away from the ideal. I sometimes wonder, about this duration of Kali Yuga, 432,000 years, of which 5,000 is gone, has 427,000 years to go, and which 10,000 is meant to be the era of Lord Chaitanya, the glorious reign of Lord Chaitanya, which have just started basically about 500 years ago. So, at the present rate, it's hard to see how it's going to go on for another 427,000 years. But this is what the Shastra says. We have faith. So our role now is that we're seeing this, and this is a very sobering period. We can see this is the nature of the world. What is that? There are so many instructions in the Bhagavatam which we can take shelter of and meditate on. Samashita ye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punya yasho marare bhavamuri vatsapadam param padam yadvipadam natesham. Perfect for this experience we're having now. So the first thing, this is a verse spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, the Maharaj Parikshit, after the Brahma's prayers in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto. He's explaining some of the meaning of those prayers, so what he says is samashita. Now samashita means full shelter. One who takes full shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, known as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon. Not just full shelter, but full shelter of the boat of the lotus feet of Krishna. There's a lot of boats, and rivers and oceans that are used in the analogies. So this is it. Like this whole material world is like an ocean. And why pick an ocean? Because it's dangerous. It's dangerous and it's ever shifting. You can never really be peaceful on an ocean, unless you try to convince yourself. I mean, what a ironic turn of events to find that these cruise ships have turned into like nightmare ships. People go there to try to forget. They go outside the 12-mile limit. There's all kinds of things you can do. You pay so much money and it's idyllic. But now they've become, when the coronavirus is on there, they don't let you off. Suddenly you're trapped on this ship and you're getting a deadly virus. That happened several times. But anyway, that's the nature of a life in this material world. It's an ocean. It's a dangerous place. But people try to forget by creating a certain atmosphere, so they forget about time, they forget about death, forget about all the dangers here. But here's, as the Bhagavatam always does, it tells it as it is. It's a place, padam yad vipadam. It's a place where there is danger at every step. Who foresaw this thing? Collapse the economy. Every day more people are dying. You don't know who could. Suddenly all interactions are fraught with danger. It's changed everything. The whole consciousness, people are freaking out. So that's the nature of the ocean. All of a sudden, dangers come up. I once read about in the open ocean, sometimes a huge tidal wave just comes up unexpectedly, swallows up a ship. You don't know where it came from. There's no storm or anything. Yes, it's happened repeatedly. What to speak of, actual storms and things that can sink you. So what this verse says, if you take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna by surrender and service and meditation and recognizing our helplessness. The Leela of Krishna are very instructive always, And this very Dham, the Govardhan, is centered on the theme of Giridhari, right? Lifter of the hill. So what happened there? Krishna, he undermined and reformed, it's all Leela, but they were offering their homage to and sacrifice to Indra every year. It's almost like paying taxes, right? Is that, if we pay the taxes, we do this every year, then the rain will come and we'll prosper, So Krishna wanted to curb Indra's pride for his own good, and he wanted to show the world that you don't have to worship the demigods if you just worship me. So, the pastime, he convinced him to perform the Govardhan Puja. It was very circumambulation, anakuta, everybody got fed, everyone was very ecstatic. But Indra, as he is wont to do, he lost his intelligence. He is like a personified mode of passion. The whole history, how he couldn't control himself, and he got cursed, and he has all eyes all over his body. So, in the Bhagavatam, there's 3 or 4 instances where he loses his intelligence, right? We just read about Maharaj Prithu. He's stealing the 100th horse, remember? And he dressed up as a fake sannyasi so he could come inside and steal the horse. Idiotic. But it was a challenge to his honor, and so forth. He had done 100 horse sacrifice. And also the other one where this is after the Govardhan Puja, after he had offered those prayers and he'd been chastised, and then he refuses to give Krishna the parijata tree when he comes up there and returns the earrings of Aditi. And there's a fight. At that point, Shukadeva Goswami has a few verses condemning Indra. So this is his nature. So he completely overreacts, and he sends this devastating storm that's going to destroy all of Vrindavan. Even in the time that it came down before Krishna lifted the hill, there was so much water that you couldn't tell low from high. In other words, it was filling in, it was flooding the whole place. And naturally, the residents became terrified. And as they always did, and always do, they called out to Krishna, their only shelter. They didn't call 911. They didn't try to build a boat, or run away. They just called out to Krishna. So this is the nature of what it means to take full shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. That's part of what it means to have faith. If Shraddha is multi-dimensional, but the basic definition is that if I just practice Krishna consciousness, all my aspirations will be fulfilled. I don't have to do anything else. In other words, okay, I'm a worshiper of Krishna, but I got so many other things to do to try to deal with this material world. The pure devotees, whatever comes, good or bad, they see it in relation to Krishna, and they always rely on him. So this is the Brijbasis. They called out to Krishna to please save me, and he saved them in the most wonderful way. He created a situation that intensified their love for him and their appreciation. 7 days straight, they all got to no one was sleeping. They simply were having his personal association. Whereas normally, the gopis would see him a little bit in the morning when they went out, and a little bit when he came back. Nobody would have his association all the time, so he gave that. That was it. And so that has to be our response to this thing. It's dangerous. We're going to do everything, obviously, we can to avoid contracting this horrible disease. But at the same time, devotees always take advantage. It ended up a positive, this Govardhan Leela, right? They got, every aspect of it was joyous for the devotees in the end. So there is an opportunity to, many devotees can't go out, this and that, so they increase their sadhana, they relate through the internet. I've been asked to give several classes, one in New York, one in Toronto, they're scheduled next few weeks, because, it's everyone's inside. So there's a Vaisheshika we pointed out, it's like the Chaturmas, where you can't travel and you're stuck at one spot, so the hearing and chanting goes on, intensely. So there's a way of dealing with this in a Krishna conscious way, and by taking shelter of each other and association and sadhana, we can overcome any anxiety and fear. This is another aspect of Krishna consciousness that people outside are terrified. That there's all kinds of stories, increased mental health problems and calls to the suicide lines and so many different things. People don't know what to do with themselves, And now, if you get it, if you're, wherever you are, you want to take shelter of Krishna. Well, you have a chance to do more sadhana, to read, to study together, to do so many things. If that's all we can do, and find ways to preach through the internet, book sales, and preaching, and so many different things. So in this way, we can stay close to Krishna, and not just here, people in the temple, there, everyone listening also. This is what it means to be a devotee of Krishna. In whether it's in a joyous situation, big festival, parakram, so many ways you take, shelter of the holy name and you're joyful, or in danger, you also, call out to Krishna from the depth of your heart, as sincerely, and you can feel his presence. And after all, one day, whether it's the virus or this or that, is going to take our body away. They're going to happen. So this is a training. To call to Krishna from the depths of our heart as hard as we can, and to take it as a lesson. There's no surety in this world of how long you're going to reign. That's the meaning of this verse. So he says, but what happens to this ocean when you take shelter of that boat? Bhavambodhiya vatsapadam. It shrinks down to the water in a calf's hoofprint. I always loved that. They don't even say a cow's hoofprint, which is small enough. But a calf's hoofprint. It's not small. In other words, you easily cross beyond that ocean, and you feel safe at the lotus feet of Krishna, which is the only safe place. Not for them is this place where it's padam padam yad vipadam, where there's danger at every step. So that's the nature of this world, and Mother Nature. Another aspect of this whole thing is from even just a scientific point of view, they've seen how they're analyzing. Well, why does this happen now? Well, you have this completely artificial civilization built up on technology, all of this flying around, and burning up all these fossil fuels. Climate change is just waiting in the wings. It's the next, disaster that's still coming, and there's even a relationship between these two. And so that's another quote. Let's see, I picked up another one here. Yeah. So Prabhupada in the first canto, this is for 1.737, and he's describing, all of this slaughter of animals, billions of animals, not just cows, but the chickens and the pigs and the different countries. It's horrendous slaughter going on, and so that also eventually comes back. In this way. So Prabhupada writes, this is the verse of text 1.737. A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being, otherwise he will go down by his own actions. So at the end of this purport, Prabhupada said, the material world is itself a place always full of anxieties, and by encouraging animal slaughter, the whole atmosphere becomes polluted more and more by war, pestilence, which is what we have here, famine, and many other unwanted calamities. And this famine thing is a real danger, because the artificial society builds up, just from an analytical point of view, where you have these supply chains, and some of them they're going from different countries, and the whole thing is broken up. And there's a real danger of shortages of food right now. You've got people lining up for miles to get free food. Free food banks, but it's not built for that. There's actual hunger in America. There was before. It's getting worse. What to speak of other countries? India is locked down. There's a lot of. So this is nature reacting to all of these atrocities on her, and trying to teach us the simple agrarian-based lifestyle, simple living, high thinking, in balance. We have a description of Yudhishthira's kingdom where the cows were so happy they were moistening the ground, and the rain was coming at the right time, at the right quantity, for agriculture to flourish. There's a system, a unified system, and there's Krishna who's in charge, and nature is the servant. And didn't we just read Prithu? What happened? When Vena was the king, eventually Mother Earth stopped giving food, stopped giving the grain. There's so much demonic activity, right? And that's why he's called Prithu. Prita is the name for the earth, Prithvi. And he's known for, getting the earth back into giving a bounty for the people, because he was such a good king. So the whole thing is, when more and more demons start running things, then there'll be all kinds of things. Big one is war. There's always threatening war. So that's the nature of this world. All the more reason for devotees of Krishna to be serious about remembering Krishna more and more and surrendering, because it doesn't matter how old you are. This is a disaster that are coming. The threefold miseries. Shri Shri Gauranatai ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadraji ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki jai. Hari Hari Bol. So, then there's one more that I wanted to share with you. And that is the famous verse from the Brahma Samhita. This is a very interesting Srishti Stiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yassa Bhuvanani Babharti Durga Ichchanurupam Apayashcha Chacheshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. the external potency. This is the Bhaktisiddhanta's translation. The external potency, Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. And this is a fascinating purport. So Durga is an expansion, actually, of Yogamaya. There's Mahamaya and Yogamaya. And Durga's thankless task for the jivas, the conditioned souls who want to forget Krishna, is to give some facility to forget Krishna, and then punish them. Whereas Yogamaya's duty is to help us remember Krishna in more intimate ways, cover his majesty and power so that Mother Yashoda can think of him as a little child. She has the internal energy. So, this is a little long, but the idea is that she acts, as I mentioning, in order to she has the trident, 10-armed form, representing the tenfold fruit of activities, and she has all of these. I like to give this analogy. So, how are we going to progress on the path back to Godhead? We need encouragement. We need to allow ourselves to be attracted to Krishna by coming into the association of devotees, seeing the deity, and most importantly, taking up the chanting of Hare Krishna. The holy name is all attractive. It's not different from Krishna. It is Krishna. So once we come into the association of devotees, we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we say, okay, I want to practice this process. So there are do's and there are don'ts. And why, as in any discipline, what is the purpose of this whole process is to purify our consciousness, because we have faith that we're in an unnatural state of consciousness, this idea of being the master and enjoyer of this world. We know that that's not what we want to be. So there are the do's and the don'ts. But we have this long practiced tendency to become attracted to things of this material world. So that's why so much of the instruction in the books is to warn us about the dangers of that. All this business about the threefold miseries, about transmigration, about the horrible punishments for a different sin. This is meant to warn us. It's our version of the what is it called? The fire and brimstone, But if that's all it was, we'd be basically no different than the Catholics or the Christians, which try to scare you. And basically, there's no, where is the all attractive Leela of God? And that's not there. So we have attracting us is Krishna himself, the form, the holy name, the kirtan, the devotees, the prasadam. Krishna is attracting us to him in this way. But at the same time, Durga is got her trident there, the threefold miseries. Here, you want to get off the path and forget about Krishna consciousness? Here's what your fate is going to be. The threefold miseries. And so, from behind, Durga's keeping us going in the right direction, and from in front, Krishna is attracting. Here, come and join me in the spiritual world. And if we're fortunate, we'll stay on the path with both of those positive and negative reinforcements. That's it. And it's true of anything, any process you want to undergo, even materially. There are things you're supposed to do and things you're supposed to not do. And the idea is that if you don't get your degree, if you don't study and go to college, you'll suffer like anything, And at the same time, if you do it, then you'll make a nice salary. You'll have a good life. So materially, the same thing is there. But but that is simply a pale reflection. It's a distorted or perverted reflection of the process of sadhana bhakti, which has been so nicely outlined. So Mother Nature, Durga, however you want to call her, she plays an essential role in this. Just like, nowadays the prisons are torture chambers. They work people for 25 cents a day, and they have enormous. Per capita, America has the highest number of people in prison than any other country. So they're not reformatories. They're really very little of that going on. But but after all, Krishna is very kind. He stays with us as a super soul, even in our lowliest incarnations, and he's trying to instruct us and give us a chance. So he wants us to be reformed, but it does take. We're very obstinate, and it does take horrible experiences like we're having now for people to wake up. So this is a chance, really, for us to become more serious ourselves, as well as to attract some people who are otherwise, more oblivious, trying to enjoy. No matter what you do now in this world, no matter where you are, you can't get away from it. It's like an amazing worldwide experience. Everyone's having it. And there's no assurance what's going to come out of this. But one thing for sure is that there are people out there who are now more receptive to the message of Krishna consciousness. If we can present, even through the internet or wherever, a different mindset, in other words, we're not freaking out as much as the people there because we're not as invested. We're not invested at all in all of the things that are falling apart, right? In other words, we can still chant Hare Krishna. We can come to the temple. Wherever you are, you can chant Hare Krishna, right? And that's really the basic source of solace and pleasure for real devotees, is the process of devotional service. What does the pratiyata mean? Ahoitikiya pratiyata. This is right at the beginning of Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, right? Sabai pungsang parodharma yato bhaktir arhoksha jaya hitukya pratiyata yatma supersediti. How can the soul be fully satisfied in any circumstance? By the practice of unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service. So that means nothing can stop it. Even in the greatest calamity, which will eventually reach all of us in the form of death, we have to be able to remember Krishna, call out to him, and take shelter. So therefore, the more that we can rely on Krishna rather than these external props which are falling away as we speak, the more we will feel, the less anxiety we will feel. The less we can be on the bodily platform and the mental platform, and be on the Krishna conscious platform, we can actually be equipoised in this difficulty. It's right in the 2nd chapter. What is it? Dukke shronod vignamana. Dukke shronod vignamana. Sukke shu vigataspaha. So dukke shronod vignamana is a symptom of what? The stitidi, is the consciousness is fixed. And Krishna says right at the beginning that equanimity, even in negative experiences, is a prerequisite of liberation. Does everyone know the verse about the tolerance? Matras parshast konteya shitoshna sugadukkada agama pahino nityas tangsatikshasya bharata. So the contact of the senses with the sense objects produce heat and cold, pleasure and pain. They come and go. One should tolerate them, O Arjun. The next verse, he says, Yang hinavidayante te purusham purushashaba samadukka sukham dhiram so amitadvaya kalpate. That these positive and negatives come and go. One who is equipoise in both of them, nahi vyante, don't disturb his mind. Only that person is eligible for liberation. So this is a good training. With all of this craziness going on, if we can remain equanimity and remain Krishna conscious and strong in our Krishna consciousness, then we are becoming eligible for liberation. In other words, for real advancement. Now that's a really valuable commodity today. No matter how much money you have, if you can have peace of mind in this situation, then you've got something. You've got something attractive, the most attractive thing. So whatever our interactions may be, whether it's through the internet or on the phone or whatever, something, if we can project that and attract people, then that can increase people's interest in Krishna consciousness. And so that's a preliminary benefit of Krishna consciousness, but it's necessary to get to that point. So let's see, there's a half hour left or so. Does anyone have any comments or questions so far? I see we don't have any facility for... Oh, do we? No. It's something else. Yeah, we should have arranged for that. Sorry about that. Okay. So let me share some of my... Let's see. Oh, here we go. No, I was thinking of going through some of our poems. One of the things is the 8-verse poem called the Kevalashtika about the holy name. I think it's appropriate. And just as news for anyone who's interested in such things, for forever, all these years, we've thought that the Kevalashtika was anonymous. We had no idea who wrote it, but they've discovered who wrote it, and his name is Sri Nilakanta. They say Nilakanta, but that doesn't make much sense. I think it's Nilakanta. And there's a lot of good instruction in this. They actually wrote 100 verses about the holy name, and these are 8 that they selected as favorite. So I'll just select some of them, or I can read the whole thing. Maduram mararebyopi mangalebyopi mangalam bhavanam bhavanebyopi hare namaiva kevalam. Now this Hare namaiva kevalam verse, many of you may recognize, is the last line in that famous verse Lord Chaitanya quoted to Prakashananda Saraswati as the verse that his spiritual master taught him. It says, well, don't worry about studying Vedanta now. In this age, the only way is the chanting of the holy name. So he pulled that last line out and it repeats. Of sweet things, this is the holy name. Of sweet things, it's the sweetest you will taste at any time. Of things that bring good fortune, it's the perfect paradigm. Of things that purify, it purifies most powerfully. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be. So, sweet things, the sweetest you will taste at any time. Now, to us, I assume practically all of us here, whether in the room or on the internet, are chanting Hare Krishna to some degree. And we may think, yeah, it's nice to chant Hare Krishna, but the sweetest of of anything, you may not be tasting it like that. Because to taste the holy name for what it really is, one has to be purified. And that's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. How to get that ruchi, how to get that taste, is all important. And the main way of doing that is by serving the pure devotee. Shushushoshadhanasya vasudeva kata ruchi syan mahatsevaya punya-tirthana sevana. But here he's giving the description of the holy name that he's experiencing, and that great acharyas do, like Rupa Goswami. Says, when I chant a holy name, says, I don't know how much nectar these 2 syllables Krishna have produced. When I chant them, they seem to dance within my mouth. I want to have millions of mouths. They enter my ear holes. I want to have millions of ears. And then they enter the courtyard of my heart, and all my senses become inert. I become fixed on Krishna. This is his experience of the holy name. So we can also taste that. Now just think what that means. We've all had experiences of tasting a really nicely prepared sweet, that's just, the right balance of milk and all the taste and things that they make in it, And it's, but you can only have a certain number, otherwise if you have too much, you get sick. But you'll never get sick. If you can, the holy name tastes so sweet, you could just chant it, chant it, chant it, chant it. It's always available. You're hooking into that source of pleasure that doesn't run out. That's Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. You recognize where that comes from? Rishabdev. Is it? For the first verse. Things that bring good fortune is the perfect paradigm. So what does the holy name do? What is this good fortune? Well, if you chant it even a little bit, you've eradicated all your sinful reactions. And since it's Krishna himself, he's attracting you back to Godhead. The name Krishna means to attract, and the holy name is non-different from Krishna. So what could be more auspicious than that? To eliminate all your sinful reactions and become attracted to Krishna for eternity. And purifying. Pavanam pavanebhyopi. We need to be purified. The whole problem is we're contaminated with the modes of nature, with material desires, fear, anger, lust, illusion, all of these things. And they're within the heart, And Krishna sees if you're chanting the holy name nicely and other vibrations about him, he'll purify the heart and become more and more clear. Our path back to God will be clearer. So then he describes very instructively, Brahma Stambhaparyantam Savamaya Mayam Jagat Satyam Satyam Punak Satyam Hare Namaiva Kevalam. From Brahma's realm atop the sky down to the lowly grass, illusion reigns in Maya Devi's treacherous morass. The truth, the only truth, the name of Shri Hari, the holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So this is similar to Krishna's verse. Obviously, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punarabhatanojana. How's it go? Mamu Pecha Kunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. That from Brahma Loka down to Patala Loka, all are places of return. You have to come back, no matter what form you're in. You keep coming back, even in Brahma Loka, unless you go back to Godhead from there. But one who comes to me never returns. So the way of the way, especially in this age, of breaking that cycle is to go, chanting the holy name, the truth, the only truth, the name of Shri Hari, within all three worlds. So then, Saguru Sapitachapi, he's the guru, he's the father, he's the friend most true. And she's the real mother who most kindly teaches you to always chant and hear the holy name of Shri Hari. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So, for one to be a genuine guru, a spiritual master, then he has to connect you to Krishna. And in this age, the practical way of doing that is chanting the holy name. The father is someone who provides for you and protects you. And what could be a better protection than Krishna? And so if someone is advising you that, he's the real father. Real friend, a real mother who nourishes you. So this is, in other words, this is the best relationships we can have with those who are encouraging us to chant. Now this next one is my favorite of these 8, because it's very telling and good instruction. The best. Mikshvase nihivishvaso kada rudho bhavishyati kirtane matabalyad hare namaiva kevalam. Remember that our final breath may come at any time. This is the COVID-19 virus. It takes away your breath, right? Remember that our final breath may come at any time, no matter if we're old and sick or in our youthful prime. So young and old alike should chant the name incessantly. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So that's the nature of this world. You never know when you can be struck down, and therefore the prudent thing to do is to cultivate the chanting so that you chant as much as possible, preferably, ultimately, at every moment. Where is Krishna stay? What is that verse? Naham tishtami vaikunte yoginamrideye shubha yatra gayanti madbhakta tattva tishtami narada. You recognize that one? Yeah. I'm not in Vaikuntha, he says to Narada. I'm not in the hearts of the yogis. But wherever my devotees are singing my glories, that's where I stay. So this verse is like that. Lord Shri Hari forever dwells wherever devotees whose hearts are fixed on him and free of all impurities uplift their voices high and sing his name in ecstasy. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So this is what Harinam Sankirtan is all about. And that is that you take Krishna out. People are not going to come to the temple. They're stuck in their ways. So you take it out and you force them to hear the holy name. And they become purified by that. And a certain number of them may become intrigued, may become attracted. But even if they don't, just hearing the holy name is so purifying. And it's very spiritually healthy for the devotees who do it. It keeps them enlivened in taking Krishna's name out because it pleases Krishna so much. Then, what is the greatest misery? Aho dukkam mahadukkam dukkha dukkataram mita kachartam visvatam ratna hare namaiva kevalam. Alas, what sorrow, what great pain, the worst calamity for people to forget the holy name of Shri Hari. Although the name's a priceless gem, mere broken glass they see. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So, the worst calamity for people to forget, well, they've all forgotten. And it's our job to remind them. But this age is especially, special dispensation is that just by chanting, one can achieve all one's spiritual goals. And therefore, this age is worshipped and appreciated by real Aryans, those who know the value of things. This is in the Bhagavatam, Kaling Sada Kaling Sabhajiyantyaya Guna Gyasar Bhaginaha Yatra Sankirtanenaiva Sarva Swarto Bilabhyate. People don't know what their real svarta is, the sva-arta, the goal of the soul. They're absorbed in bahir-arta, external goals. This is Prahlad's teaching to his father. So, and because of that, they ignore the chanting of the holy name, which is really their salvation. So it's our job to taste the name ourselves and become purified and then teach it to others. This is Lord Chaitanya's desire. What was that? What's that phrase he says? Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shika. Just chant Sri Krishna's holy name. Just chant Krishna's name and worship him with all your heart. Follow his instructions and to others them impart. This is our preaching formula. So, he's lamenting how what great misery is people to forget the holy name, which is just like a gem, a chintamani gem that transforms your consciousness, but they see it as broken glass. So he advises, Diyatam diyatam karno, niyatam niyatam vachaha, giyatam giyatam nityam, harinamaiva kevalam. Just fill your ears, just fill them with the name of Shri Hari. Just chant the name with all sincerity. Just sing the name, just sing the holy name eternally. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So he's enjoining us to take full shelter of the holy name. And then this last verse, Trini Kuchitigam Savam Rajate Sakalopadi Chadanandamayam Shuddham Hadirnamaiva Kevalam. It makes this world appear like bits of straw upon the ground. Resplendently it reigns supreme, divinity and sound. Is filled with transcendental bliss and peerless purity. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. So how does it make this world appear like bits of straw upon the ground? Because it purifies your vision so you can see what's really valuable. And you see that nothing in this world is valuable. Really, it's just a reflection. It's just an evanescent dream world. What is valuable in this world are those things which are connected to Krishna, beginning with the holy name. So it reigns supreme. Now, does this remind you of the verse? Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, the last line of the first verse of Shikshastika, which is Vijayate, this Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name, will be victorious. So this is it reigns supreme. It will, we have faith in that, even though it seems difficult to imagine. But that's what Lord Chaitanya's movement is that the holy name will conquer and save everybody. Filled with transcendental bliss and peerless purity. So the holy name of Krishna is how do you say it? The instigator or the source of transcendental happiness, because it's not different from Krishna. It's just ourselves that can't appreciate it at the present moment. So becoming eligible to appreciate the qualities, the divine qualities of the holy name should be a great aspiration of ours. And peerless purity. It's never becomes impure, but it purifies us, just like Krishna, any contact with Krishna. So I made up this last verse, and I had to change it because now we know his name. So what it says, I inspired to glorify the holy name of Shri Hari. Shri Nilakanta wrote this hymn in Sanskrit poetry. I pray that those who read this lowly version made by me will chant the holy name of Shri Hari in ecstasy. Okay, so since are there any questions, comments? Okay, go ahead.
So there's two questions from Dhanavaramaji on YouTube. The first one, she says, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Can we pray to Durga Devi to help us in spirituality, since she helps us in so many ways?
Pray to Durga Devi.
Yeah, to help us
in
spirituality.
I wouldn't if I were you. I mean, it's true that the gopis prayed to Katyayani to have Krishna as a husband, but generally it's not necessary. You can pray directly to Krishna, and he'll set everything right. He'll order Durga Devi to make all of the arrangements, to help you. Generally, the devotees don't pray directly to Durga Devi. Go ahead.
she has another one. She says, she says first before that, very nice class, Prabhu. Jai Prabhupada.
There you go.
And then she says, who is Yogamaya? How can we pray for her mercy?
Who is Yogamaya? Yogamaya is the internal potency of Krishna. She, as I explained, she is in charge of furthering the exchange of rasa between Krishna and his intimate devotees. And to do that, she covers Krishna's majesty so that the devotees, his friends, his parents, the gopis, can forget Krishna's, that he's God, and interact with him on a much more intimate level. This is what Krishna really wants, and that's what Goloka is all about. In Vaikuntha, everybody knows who's God. Even though they all have 4 arms, only he has the Kaustubha gem and the Srivatsa mark. And so it's all Dasya Ras, which is fine. That's fulfilling for them. But Krishna is more pleased when devotees deal with him on an equal level. He describes in the 4th chapter, Adi Lila, when the gopis chastise him in a sulky mood, that steals his mind away from the hymns of the Vedas. There's a verse like that. So that's Yogamaya. Yogamaya is covering the gopis because they're so advanced. They want to serve Krishna in that way. So therefore, any knowledge of his divinity is eclipsed. So what's left is the ultimate sweetness and the badagda and the all attractive features. So the Yogamaya is in charge of that. She expands, as I mentioned, as Durga Devi, who helps you to forget Krishna entirely. Not that you're forgetting his majesty and becoming attracted to him, but you're forgetting him entirely. So that's Yogamaya. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Well, then here's one more verse, and then we can end. This is a prayer to become a miser. Now, we know we're not supposed to be misers, kripanas. But here it is, right from the Pajavali. This is one of Rupa Goswami's favorite verses. So that's this mystery now. So it's nice poetry. Vichayani, vichayani, vichintyani, punakpanaha, kripanasya, dananiva, vannamani bhavantuna. So the kripana word is there. Compelled to constantly collect and count his precious hoard, the miser contemplates his wealth with avaricious aims. Please bless me to become a miser who's compelled, O Lord, to constantly collect and count and contemplate your names. So there's that phrase, from the 80s, is it? Greed is good. So we think greed is good, but the question is greedy for what? What's the verse describing how good greed is? You remember? Krishna Bhakti rasabhavitamati kriyatam yadikatopi labhyate tatta laulyam api mulyam ekalam janmakoti sukatayana labhyate. This word laulyam means greed. So Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavan, Prabhupada said this first line was the source of his phrase Krishna consciousness. So Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavitamati, the mind absorbed in Krishna Bhakti Rasa, is so valuable. If you can buy it somewhere, you should buy it. Krishna Bhavat Kriyatam, buy it. Yadikutopi labhyate. If you can buy it somewhere, you should buy it, but you have to have the price. What's the mulyam, the price? Tatra laulyam of the mulyam. Laulyam is the price. In other words, your intense desire for it is the only price. How to get that desire? Janmakoti sukata. You can't get it. You can't get either the Krishna Bhakti Bhavatamati, the absorption of Krishna consciousness, or the laulyam by pious activity. Over millions of births. That's not going to make it. Well, the only thing that works is the process of bhakti that we've been given, association with devotees, and all the things that you find in the nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion. So that's another verse. That verse is by Ramananda Roy. He spoke that to Lord Chaitanya in his chapter 8. So thank you for hearing all, locally and on the internet. We'll continue with this program next week. Who's on for next week? Vijay Prabhu. So that'll be a much more enlivening talk. Thank you for your attention. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.